Do you want to explore diverse cultures and show your creative work to the world?
Do you believe your research can advance human survival?
Do you believe that humanity can resolve the problems we face through education?
Do you want to apply your knowledge locally?
Explore the answer in Taiwan. In Taiwan, you can be more than a student.
You become a dedicated partner that works towards creating a better future for the human race.
Tackle sustainability issues.
And seek different potential solutions for the difficult problems.
Studying in Taiwan is the first step
Towards broadening your horizon
and contributing to a new future
Created from the vision of your generation.
Explore the answer in Taiwan.
Welcome back to our program this morning of Face to Face on this Monday morning. And as I mentioned earlier this morning, we have some very special guests with us in studio. And it's on a very rare occasion that we get a VIP guest on our program of Face to Face. And this morning we have none other than the Ambassador to the Republic of China, Taiwan, His Excellency Peter Shali Lan. Ambassador Lan, welcome to the program this morning. And good to have you back in the studio once more.
Thank you, and good morning, Colvin, and thanks for having me, as well as Jamali here to be on your program. As a matter of fact, I just want to say Happy Lunar New Year,
Yes.
to all the Vincentians, because as you might know, today is the second day of the lunar calendar, so we're still in Lunar New Year spirit. So I just want to say that Happy New Year to everybody.
All right. And Jamali is here with us this morning, generally a behind-the-scenes type of person, as he says. But this morning he is in front and center as a Vincentian student who studied in Taiwan and had the full Taiwan experience, everything that encompasses studying in Taiwan, which we may not be able to cover in the time that we have this morning. But the aim this morning, Ambassador and Jamali, is to have a full understanding of what it's like to study in Taiwan, the experience of studying in Taiwan. So I'll ask the ambassador the very first question this morning. Why Taiwan?
Thank you, Colvin. I think the answer is easy. Taiwan and Vincentian has enjoyed 41 years of friendship and is still going strong. So we have scholarships specifically designed for our diplomatic allies. That's called the Taiwan MOFA Scholarship. MOFA stands for Ministry of Foreign Affairs. And then the big news for this starting this year is that we are going to increase the number of those scholarship recipients for this scholarship by 10, which means from the year 2023 to 2025, we'll have 10 more scholarship recipients of that scholarship, which is going to start for application February the 1st until the 31st of March. Of course, we have another scholarship, which is the Taiwan ICTF scholarship, which is already open for application. And the deadline for that is March the 15th. Now, I have to say the big difference in between these two scholarships is for the Taiwan ICDF scholarships, it's a full English courses. So you don't need to study Mandarin or Chinese. You can apply it. You go there, you study under the English environment. But for Taiwan MOFA scholarship, you have to go there and go through a 1 year Mandarin course before you can register for the university or advanced degrees. So that's the only difference.
All right, sounds great, and that was where I bring in Jamali because he had the opportunity there. Did you have to learn Mandarin, Jamali?
Yes, I did.
And what was that like for you? That's the very first thing I wanted to ask you. How did you, get accustomed to this new language that you had to use on a daily basis?
Before I answer the question, I want to say again, thank you for having us and join with the ambassador in saying Happy Lunar New Year.
Yes.
Wishing you and Kwaila to you and your listeners. But regarding Taiwan, Mandarin is one of the most spoken languages in the world. And I think it was very fortunate to have the opportunity to learn it, even though, for instance, as Ambassador mentioned with the ICDF scholarship, it is not mandatory that someone learns Mandarin. One of the things I always encourage students, if you're spending that amount of time in a foreign country, it is very beneficial to learn Mandarin because if you can speak both Mandarin and English, you can speak to almost half of the world. And I think in doing so, I have a communications background, and I always like to say that language is one of the things that helps you to appreciate culture. And if you know the culture of a country, if you know the language rather, then it really helps you to appreciate the culture.
All right, and that's a very good start to be able to speak Mandarin, and I believe you do speak it fluently now, right?
Indian.
He's very fluent.
Which means a little bit.
A little bit.
Yeah.
Ambassador, is he been reserved about that? Is he very
Well, he's being very moderate.
Yeah.
I think his Mandarin is actually better than my English.
Ambassador, in terms of the accommodation, because when you get to Taiwan, it's a different country, it's a different sort of environment that you're in. What are some of the areas when it comes to the accommodation when you're in Taiwan, and how do you get to and from your classes, etc.?
Well, I think when people think about Taiwan, people think it's so far away, right? And it's another civilization. But as a matter of fact, we are a peace-loving country. We accept almost every kind of people, no matter what ethnic, religion, background they are. We're always welcoming foreigners, especially foreign students. And so that's one of the advantages of studying in Taiwan. The other thing is the living standard in Taiwan compared to other very advanced countries like the US or some of the European countries are relatively reasonable. And it's very convenient. For example, part of the most important culture over there is the 7-Eleven, the convenience stores. It's at every corner on the street. So you can literally buy your stuff, eat your lunch boxes just through those convenient stores. So you have the friendly people around, you have very convenient transportation system, and those stores helping you cope with the new environment. I don't think there's any problems for our Vincentian students to very quickly mingle into the society. So I think that that's one of the most advantages we have.
All right, and up to this point, Ambassador, do you have a number as to how many approximately Vincentians have had the opportunity to study in Taiwan?
Well, I think we already have over than 228 recipients all over the years. And last time we checked with VITA, which is the Students Association of Vincentians in Taiwan, they have now 120 members there that show how strong this connection is. And as a matter of fact, people who study over there not necessarily join the association, so there'll be more out there.
Great. And I'll just plug here that Jamali is also the president of the Alumni Association here in St. Vincent. He didn't mention that at the beginning, but he is. So hence he's here this morning to talk all about not just his experience, but the relationship that we continue to maintain, and the alumni continue to maintain with Taiwan. Because as you study there, from what I understand, you get a connection that is long lasting. I even see you have your Taiwan Thai pin this morning.
Yeah.
For those who are viewing, you'll see that maybe the computer is blocking it, but he has his Taiwan Thai pin this morning to show his solidarity. And for those who are interested in studying Taiwan. Jamali, for those who are thinking about it, they heard about the opportunities Ambassador spoke about and they want to apply, what would you say would be some of the areas they need to think about first before applying for the scholarship?
Yeah, and that's a very good question. And one of the things I always tell people, because a number of persons would come to myself and other persons in the alumni over the years to ask advice. And I like to tell them two things. First of all, think about what is it that you're very passionate about. Because studying in any country, you have to have a level of discipline and drive. And if you have that passion, then when the tough days come, as would come in any sphere, then that is the thing that is going to propel you. But the other thing I like to tell people is think about what you can do to contribute towards national development. Because one of the things that I really appreciate about Taiwan and other Asian societies is they're not very individually focused, in the sense that it is a lot about national development, community development, family development, and so on. So I like to think about what is it that you can do to help to build your country. And now the truth is you can build your country from outside of it, in the sense that with the education that you get from Taiwan, there's the opportunity now to work in Taiwan, actually, which was not the case previously when the scholarship just started. But think about what you want to do personally, and also how can you develop yourself nationally. Well, when I say nationally, in terms of your country, but I want to mention something really quickly regarding your question about accommodation, because as Ambassador said, Taiwan is pretty far. It's literally on the other side of the world. Funny enough, I always, when I greet people, I say good morning, and they say, but it's afternoon. I say it's always morning somewhere in the world, and when it's afternoon here, it's morning in Taiwan. But the point is, even though it's very far, there's a very vibrant Vincentian community. And for persons who apply for the scholarship and are successful, even before getting to Taiwan, there's interaction between those who are on the ground. Thankfully, we have an embassy now in Taiwan, which has been a great boost for the Vincentian community there. And in doing so, a lot of the logistics in terms of accommodation and so on will be already decided before persons get to Taiwan. With the Taiwan ICDF scholarship, you have to live on the dorm. So that's basically simple. But for those who are successful in receiving one of the MOFA scholarships, they have the opportunity to decide if they want to live on dorm or off campus or wherever. But they are assisted in doing so even before leaving by the Vincentian community in Taiwan.
All right. And commendations to Ambassador Bowman as well for the excellent work that she's doing. And
Yes.
part of it is also facilitating our students. On the broader scale, she deals with all of the affairs associated with Taiwan and St. Vincent and the Grenadines, but the students especially benefit from her presence on the ground in Taiwan. Ambassador, getting to Taiwan, I know sometimes when you think about, Jamali mentioned it's the other side of the globe. How do I get there? What do I do to get there?
Well, there are more and more flight connecting to Taiwan now. Thanks again for the construction of the Argyle International Airport, which we are a proud part of it. Now you have the flight connecting Taiwan from New York, from Los Angeles, from London, and I believe in the future from Canada, because now you're opening up for direct flight to Canada. So there are many ways of making the connections. But again, as I said, and Jamali, thanks for bringing that up, that one of our national drive is not only recruiting foreign students who receive scholarships in Taiwan in the future for job opportunities, but we are actually also looking for English-speaking teachers at this moment, and we have another platform recruiting that. So, which means that there are more and more students after graduation will have a great opportunity to continue working with our society, no matter what your choice in the future is. I believe that scholarship will offer people here a great opportunity to go there and experience another civilization, and hopefully making our diplomatic bonds stronger in the future.
All right. And in terms of the offerings there, I know when you think about Taiwan, you think about a wide array of courses that you can do, the different programs that you can do. What about something like medicine? Can you study medicine in Taiwan?
Well, let me start explaining that. The Taiwan ICDF scholarship is, as I said, is a full English courses. So there are limitations as to what majors you can take, but there are currently 33 different degrees offered under the Taiwan ICDF. And I believe 8 of them are bachelor's degrees. Others are either PhD degrees or master's degrees. But for Taiwan MOFA scholarships, it is open for any university and any major, which means there's a selection between all the 150 universities and all their departments out there. But then I have to take this opportunity to remind our potential applicants, as Jamali just mentioned, you have to be very clear in determining what is the future career path or possible ways that when you are making the decision. Now, we don't want people to just walk into the embassy and say, oh, there's a scholarship available, I just want to go there, without understanding what their determination is, what their passion is. We want people to walk into our embassy and say, well, I want to pursue this kind of career and apply for the scholarships. So why I said that? Because no matter what scholarships you are applying, you have to go through an interview in the embassy. So we will be determining, well, not the embassy making the determination, of course, but we will be asking questions about whether you did a thorough study of your future career, as well as the schools and departments that you are going to attend. So that's very important.
And I'm glad you mentioned that, Ambassador, because I was about to ask you in terms of the career paths that are in high demand, if there's a particular preference to granting scholarships for those that would come back and add to, economic development or social development, etc. And those who would, add additional value to our job stock, I should say, the offerings and the career paths. Do you have a particular niche there where you would accommodate more students for that in your scholarships?
Well, I think that's up to the individuals to decide. But as I said, there are 150 universities there. And we, as everybody knows, that one of the strongest background or industry we have is the ICT and the related industries, computers, ICTs, you name it. But then we are also very good in other areas like agriculture, other like civil engineering, and more like the cultural part, like hospitality, mass communications. So as I said, there's a variety of selections, but people have to do a study and understand what their passion is, and even study all different departments in different universities before they walk into our interview, because that is something that will definitely report back to our headquarters.
Right. I think I'll go back to Jamali for a bit on the experience side. Jamali, when someone is planning to go abroad to study, one of the concerns besides accommodation would be, what are you going to eat? How are you going to, and that must have been quite an interesting transition for you, from stepping into a new environment and different foods, having to, get used to different types of food. What was that like for you?
What I would say is that Taiwan is like a foodie's dream. And the reason why I say so is that an ambassador mentioned it before. Taiwan is a very inclusive and integrated society. Sometimes when people think about going to study in Taiwan, the perception is, okay, I'm going somewhere where it is just basically Taiwanese and I have to learn Chinese, but it's a very integrated and English-friendly society. There are people in Taiwan from Europe, from other parts of Asia, from South and Central America, North America, Africa. So because of that, there is a multiplicity of cultures which include food. So you can get food from just about anywhere in the world in Taiwan. I just want to mention something going back to the question to Ambassador regarding the scholarships, because there is a website called studyintaiwan.org, and many of the questions regarding specific courses can be answered there. And from there, you would have an opportunity to, if I'm interested in course X, this course is offered by these universities, so you can have links to the different university websites and so on, which is very important because when someone studies in Taiwan, again, as Ambassador said, you really have to know what is your career path. And as a matter of fact, part of the application process is to do a study plan, which you basically talk about why do you want to study in Taiwan. And in doing so, all the information that you would need to answer that question can be found on that website. So I'm recommending it to all your listeners, studyintaiwan.org.
Study in Taiwan. Now, all of the questions I wouldn't be able to ask you this morning because of the time limitation. They're there, and you can find out all the, as we say locally, Jamali, the nitty gritty, and all the details about the study opportunities in Taiwan. It's studyintaiwan.org.
.org.
Studyintaiwan.org.
And in addition to the question on food, because I want to expand it from that, not just food, because again, even though you're going to Taiwan to study and the education is very good, as a matter of fact, there are universities in Taiwan that have been ranked in top lists of a number of best universities in the world. But even though you're going for the education, the experience itself is something that I encourage people to take advantage of. So if you're interested in sports, in the arts, drama, you have the opportunity to attend number of cultural performances and so on. So the experience in Taiwan to me is equal to the education.
All right, awesome. So, and I was about to ask you about the cultural experience, because the food and the culture go hand in hand, and it's quite different. What were some of your main surprises when you got to Taiwan?
And you know, the question was regarding the differences, and I'm going to get to that, but I really want to point out the similarities that Taiwan has with St. Vincent and the Grenadines. And the reason why that's important to me is because it makes people appreciate and understand and feel comfortable about going there, because we're both island. Well, we're a multi-island nation. Taiwan kind of is a multi-island nation. There's Turtle Island and so on. But we are surrounded by water, basically. Both of our countries really believe in the importance of our people. It is often said that in terms of natural resources, we both don't have gold and diamonds and these things, but our most valuable resource are our people. And I think as a result of that, the relationship between Taiwan and St. Vincent and the Grenadines in terms of education, airport development, health, and other things show the similarities that we have. But in terms of the differences, you know, I remember my very first day driving into Taipei from the airport. It was a Sunday morning. I left St. Vincent on a Friday, which kind of tells you in terms of the travel. So I left St. Vincent on a Friday, got there on a Sunday morning, and driving into Taipei, I'm seeing all of these signs, and I couldn't tell where the sign started or ended, because everything, well, most things I should say were in Mandarin, but just that feeling that I'm actually now in Taiwan. And for a moment, you could almost get a bit overwhelmed by the reality of it. But bit by bit, you get more accustomed and acclimatized to the society. And speaking about that, I think it's important to talk about the differences in the weather. Because in St. Vincent and the Grenadines, our weather is more or less standard throughout the year. But in Taiwan, it could get pretty cold.
It can.
In the winter. And it can get pretty hot in the summer. I've experienced 42, I think, degrees, because on a lot of buildings you see time and temperature, and I have experienced as low as 3 degrees, and I know there's some places in the mountains where it actually snows. Oh
wow. So you have to get accustomed to also the weather, and we didn't even mention the weather as well. But the culture, in terms of that, what you observed.
The Chinese society goes back thousands and thousands of years. And one of the things I appreciated about the culture of Taiwan, it has a very rich history associated with that. And Taiwan specifically has gone through a number of different changes. And I think because of that, there's an appreciation of cultural heritage. There's the Aboriginal, there's the ethnic Chinese, and there's a lot of that mixing. And as I mentioned before, there are opportunities to experience other cultures in terms of performances in some of the memorial halls and national museums. As a matter of fact, speaking about that, there's the National Palace Museum in Taiwan, which is one of the largest repository of Chinese artifacts in the world. So there is a lot. I can't begin to talk about all that you can experience in Taiwan.
We're just touching the surface.
Yeah.
Just touching the surface.
Yeah. So music, the arts, drama, all of these different aspects of culture is very accessible and rich and alive and well in Taiwan.
And we probably need an entire day to discuss all of those. So
Yeah.
we'll leave it there for now. Ambassador, as we get ready to close off this morning, I want you to make a personal appeal to our Vincentian students to apply for the scholarships because they're there. And as you mentioned, you're adding 10 more to what was there. And going forward, you'll be adding more year by year. That's correct. You'll be adding more year by year going
Or
forward.
the next 3 years.
Next 3 years. Right. So that's 30 additional scholarships
That's
that
right.
will be added to the pool that's already there.
Yes.
So I want you to make a personal appeal as the ambassador for the Republic of China, Taiwan, to our Vincentian students looking at the opportunities to study abroad, to study in Taiwan.
Thank you, Colvin. Again, thanks for giving me this opportunity, as well as Jamali. Thanks for coming. I think our message to all the Vincentians out there is education has always been the backbone of our 41 years of friendship, and we continue to look forward to Vincentians to apply for our scholarships. Not only these two, I have to say, there are all other individual scholarships offered by other schools. You have to just look hard into it. Our embassy is already open for the applicants to come in. But I have to say we have very limited staffs. So as Jamali mentioned, there are websites that gave people details. I would encourage all potential candidates to go online and or go on our Facebook. There are website links. Study very hard, study the details before you call us and ask the questions, because we're overwhelmed by all those phone calls. But that is good in terms of our bilateral relationship. So we welcome everybody to consider Taiwan as your next stop of study. And please, again, I have to say, March the 15th and March the 31st are the deadlines for these two scholarships. There are wonderful opportunities out there. Please. Thank you very much.
Yes, and it's a pleasure having you this morning, Ambassador.
Thank
and
you.
Before we go, I'll give you the page for the Taiwanese embassy here. It's Taiwan in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Once you go to that page, all of the information in terms of the application process, because of course you'll need to know the requirements and all of that. The specifics we may not be able to give you at this point in time, in the limited time that we have, but I can tell you that you can reach out to them via the contacts provided there and get all that information you need to prepare for that journey that you may just be able to benefit from in studying in Taiwan. Jamali, anything you'd like to add before?
Yeah, I just wanted to say from our side, in terms of the Alumni Association, I'm pretty confident that in just about every sphere or industry in St. Vincent and the Grenadines, there's someone who has studied in Taiwan. And we always like to tell people, feel free to reach out to us and we can kind of help you in terms of walk you through the application process. And not just that, in terms of advice, in terms of specific courses and programs that you may want to study, because we have people who've done, as Ambassador said, journalism and mass communication, travel and tourism, agriculture, science, a lot of different fields. So if you're on Facebook, we could probably just put out a message, and we do have a Facebook page, the St. Vincentian Taiwan Alumni Association. You can just put a message there and say, I'd like to apply for the scholarship. Can you offer any advice? So again, I want to take this opportunity to thank the ambassador and previous ambassadors, and because, as said, we've had a relationship for over 40 years, and I really believe that relationship, I love to say that it is not just diplomatic, but Taiwan is like a family member to St. Vincent and the Grenadines, and we have enjoyed very good bilateral relationships over the years, and I really do hope that it continues to grow from strength to strength.
All right. So let me thank you very much both for being here this morning. It's been quite an interesting exchange this morning and finding out about the opportunities to study in Taiwan. And I know we had some folks sharing on the live. I see Joanna, your sister's there. Joanna, Jack, good morning to you, Joanna. He says good morning and happy Chinese New Year to you both. Joshua and Jackie is also commenting, enjoy the program this morning. Gian is also there. So the entire family is there this morning supporting you, Jamali. And Monique says happy Lunar New Year. So we know that they're in tune and they're following. And we hope that you both enjoy the time here this morning. It's, it was shorter than anticipated. The half an hour went by rather quickly. But I'm sure our listeners got a very good, snippet of what it's like to study in Taiwan. And for more information, they can visit your social media pages. Is there a number that you can provide, Ambassador, so that they can reach, or you prefer if they go through the
Well, I think it's easy for people to find out our number, but I can memorize that. But as I said, the details, you have to study the details before you make the phone calls, because we are overwhelmed by all those applicants. Just bear with us.
So make sure that you think about it, think about the direction you wish to go and how you wish to approach that opportunity that may await you to study in Taiwan. Ambassador, thank you very much for being here this morning. Jamali, thank you very much. And Lucy, who is behind the scenes, Lucy is hiding out of the camera shot there for assisting this morning and making this discussion possible. Thanks to all our listeners, those online, those on the FM band. Thank you very much for being a part of our program this morning of Face to Face. And please don't forget to visit the studyintaiwan.org website. There you'll find all of the information, all what we discussed this morning, and so many more details that you'd need to find out in order to prepare for that possible opportunity to be one of those fortunate enough to study in the Republic of China, Taiwan. Thanks very much, everyone, and who have a safe and a productive one today.
Thank you.
My country has diplomatic ties with Taiwan, so I decided to utilize this opportunity to learn more about this country. I decided to continue my university education at Isho University. International Program on Artificial Intelligence aligns with my career back in my country. And other areas I consider practical for national development. Studying Chinese was my greatest challenge while studying here. I address it by focusing on the efficient use of the language in everyday life. My experience in Taiwan is a good reference point for differences between Western culture and Eastern culture. People with ambition who would not allow the world to transition from day to night aimlessly would get benefit from studying in Taiwan. Welcome to Study in Taiwan.
欢迎来台湾读书。